Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omni Viewer, and I'm live once again, this time to do a little post G-Fest thing with a whole bunch of different guest stars. This will probably be my biggest live stream on the channel to date. And we've already got a significant lineup. More people will be joining us as the evening wears on. But enough about that. Let's actually get into bringing people on here. And my usual habit is to let people introduce themselves because they can probably do it better, and I just don't want to. So, to start off with, the person who usually does these sort of live streams after G-Fest.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kaiju Kim. I create wholesome and delightfully stupid content related to Godzilla and his fellow kaiju. And I figured, instead of doing my post G-Fest live stream like I usually do, let someone else have a turn. This gentleman right here. Thank you for having me on, by the way.
Thank you for coming on board. And next up on that list.
Hi, everybody. My name is Robert Montserrat. I am an artist. You can follow me on Twitter at Montserrat Robert, just my last name and my first name. You might remember me from such comics as Gamera the Great, which I was a fanzine of like Gamera art and writing, which I wrote the introduction to, and I have a comic in there.
Very nice. Glad to have you on board. And up next, another person that you might find somewhat familiar from past videos I've appeared in elsewhere.
Hello, everyone. My name is Donnie Winter. I am a writer. I also am the host of the podcast Growing Up with Godzilla, and you probably see me around, just bebopping and doing some fun stuff. So, Omni, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
You're welcome. And when you say bebopping, you mean like cowboy bebopping, or?
You know it. Absolutely.
All right. Next up, you look vaguely familiar.
Hello, kaiju lovers!
You
knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
I knew.
Though it's still not as wild as it normally gets on my podcast, the Monster Island Film Vault, where we seek entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. I've had Omni on several times, and he remains one of my most popular guests. I get a lot of hits on his episodes, as you would expect. In fact, actually, my two, technically the guys I had on at least on YouTube, my most popular episode ever are in this stream, Omni and Donnie. Last I checked, our GXK episode had like 3,800 views or something like that. That's probably like 3,600 were done by bots. So little Mechagodzilla children.
You know what? The bots got to listen to a great conversation.
Oh, they did. They did. And I also just launched a new podcast called Henshin Power V3, which will be relevant here in a moment. And obviously, much like Omni here, I'm a writer and an author. I've got books and articles and all kinds of stuff. I've contributed to Kaiju United. Plenty of stuff that I could go over. I will spare all of you my litany of credentials, and we'll move on.
Right.
And yes, just to satisfy Kim, I have a master's degree.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
Just for you, Kim.
There it is.
And speaking
check
of
out my bingo card.
And speaking of being relative in a few minutes.
What's up,
Hello,
everybody? I'm Jake. I co-host Henshin Power V3 with Nathan. And it's my first live stream. So
Oh, welcome.
Yay.
Oh no!
So thanhanks for having me.
When do we start the hazing ritual?
Anytime, I guess.
God, this is a
I
frat.
think we can wait till everyone gets here, and then we'll start hazing.
Yeah, it's a very gradual process. So this is our slot for now. We'll have other people joining us over the evening, but I certainly think we have enough here to get the ball rolling quite quickly. So, G-Fest just happened. Overall impressions, just to begin?
You might want to pick. There's a lot of people here, Omni. You might want to pick someone to go first.
Let's just go that way and work our way around.
So, Kim.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say, but G-Fest was awesome. It was fantastic. I had a really good time. It's always exhausting. My brain was mush when I got back, but it was totally worth it. I encountered so many wonderful people. I have some fan stories to share. But it's good. It was a good time. There were some hiccups, a little few hot messes, but overall, I'd say we had a good time.
Very
Yeah.
good.
My G Fest was pretty cool. I came home with like $31 bills left from the dealer's room. So,
I didn't know they made
Specifically,
$31 bills.
specifically George Washington's, right?
yeah, specifically George
Wow.
Washington.
I don't know why you have that many George Washingtons, but
Where have
Just,
been, Robert?
in case nobody took card.
oh, well, you always take cash. But
There were plenty of vendors who would have appreciated some Washingtons, from what I learned.
Mm.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun. It was pretty crowded, I remember. Yeah. Like that had to have been a record year for them. And
I heard rumors of 10,000 in attendance.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
And to put that into perspective, last year they set the record with 5.
Yeah. I remember back when it was 2,000. 2,000 people. That used to be a really big G Fest, but now. Yeah, good time.
So this was my first G Fest,
Woohoo!
and overall, I had a really good time. Got to meet a lot of new people. The dealer room was awesome. The panels were good. Going to the movies was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was great. I had a good time.
Mm-hmm. I've been going to G Fest since, trying to do the math in my head, the 2017. And I would not say that this was my favorite G Fest ever, but it was still a very good one for me personally. The con is still in the midst of some growing pains in a couple of different ways. The number of people coming is one of them. They've been under new management since the post-COVID era, so they're still kind of figuring themselves out, kind of rejiggering their identity and how they do things now. So that's still been a bit of an ongoing process, but like I said, the spikes in attendance are every year are just not necessarily helping. But I had a tremendous time this year. There were some great moments that I hope we can all get to talk about.
So this was my 5th G Fest. I started going back to G Fest in 2007, and then I had like a long break. And then when Megumi Odaka came in 2018, I was like, I have to just keep going. And I'm going to be honest, this was probably one of the best G Fests that I've had. I had so much fun, whether it be spending time with some of my favorite humans or getting a chance to just do a lot of like really cool stuff, like panels and things like that. I was overwhelmed at the amount of people at first. It like just the lengthy line waits to get into the dealer's room and the Kaiju Island. That was like, Kim, didn't we wait for like an hour to get into Kaiju Island that one day? Like it was.
Was it like an hour?
It felt like an hour.
It might as well have been.
Yeah. Oh, Donnie, for those who don't know, what's Kaiju Island?
Kaiju Island is essentially, I've been calling it Artist Alley that entire weekend because that's essentially what it is.
It was.
That is the new title for Artist Alley, essentially.
Yeah, but it was tiny this year. Like I heard one person say they put him in a broom closet practically compared to the other. And I understand there aren't as many per se, but like at the same time, it's such a confined space. And you look at the line, you think the line for the vendors hall is intimidating. At least it's got like a nice little snaking queue that you can get into. That one, I think on Saturday, I looked at the line, it was stretching off into the horizon. And
yeah.
It's like, but I want to get in there. These are the people. These are my fellow original guys. Come on.
Right.
So Foxtrot asked, was it worth the hour-long wait? I would say absolutely. the artist alley was always like one of my favorite spaces to go, mostly because many of the writers and artists who are there, many of them are my friends. So like supporting friends and enjoying the art and the writing, I think that's important.
Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to get there until Sunday afternoon, and then it had to be a pretty quick trip through it because I still had a dozen things going on at the time, and I wish I had spent more time in there, to be honest.
Yeah. At least I got to get a few things from there. Specifically, like Kaiju Assault has their new weekly world news crossover
Oh,
that they're doing. The book with the deck as well. So I've got to have them on this show at some point too.
I need to buy more of their stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do card art for them back in the day. I should get in touch with them maybe again one day.
Yeah.
It was like back when they were, doing Godzilla Kaiju and stuff like that. I did a manga for them, a Jet Jaguar, all kinds of stuff. I don't know if those are used anymore. I don't think they are.
They stopped producing them, but I do have some of those older quote unquote fanfic sets. I kind of wish I could have gotten the rest of them, but
yeah,
I can only do so much.
Yeah. Still, though, I guess for as intimidating as the line to Kaiju Island could be, the fact that it was so long was, in its own way, still encouraging.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I think we also. Oh, go ahead, Nathan.
No, I was just gonna say I think it does speak to the fact that they need a bigger venue. Either that or they need to take over more of the Hyatt. But well, I'm sure we'll get into that. But what were you saying, Donnie?
Well, I was going to say we should give major props to the volunteers because I think they were doing such a great job, like keeping count of how many people were in there, allowing individuals in gradually so it didn't get overwhelmed.
Yeah. And the dealers hall practically had bouncers.
Oh yeah, I saw them deal with some shenanigans, let's just say, and I think the volunteering to do that and still dealing with shenanigans with poise and patience. Where is their prizes? Because they deserve them.
To all the people who volunteer at G-Fest or who volunteer at any convention, you're the unsung heroes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, this is going to be fairly loose format because I've been recovering from a minor cold, so I didn't really have the brain power to plan anything solid.
Yeah. Did you get some con crud, do you think?
Possibly. I'm on the recovery now. You may have noticed I muted a couple of times to avoid interrupting anyone with my coughing.
Right. Hopefully you didn't get what my friend / patron Winja the Ninja got. He thinks he doesn't think he tested positive for COVID, and he thinks he got it from there. Oh no.
Well, here's something we can talk about from the comments. All I know is the person that made that 1974 Mechagodzilla suit made me, many other event attendees, and Jun Fukuda in heaven smile real big. Very impressive suit recreation.
Please tell me he won the cosplay contest.
Serious? He won all of G-Fest,
because
opinion.
Okay. There's video on YouTube of the costume parade, and Kim, I know you got some video and pictures. I got some video pictures. This guy, I mean, first off, the suit just looks great. Like it is, it's a slightly caricatured spitting image of the Showa Mechagodzilla from 1974. And that was impressive enough. Okay. And I do, the eyes did light up, like they lit up yellow. And we're like, wow, that does look really cool. Then he goes walking up on stage, and they always let the cosplayers each do like a little bit of performance before they move on. And this guy just blew everybody's minds because not only did the eyes light up yellow, they would flash Technicolor like they would, to indicate, that that's when Mechagodzilla was shooting lasers. And then he blew everybody's minds because the missile hands would actually spin. And we're like, you win. We are simple nerds, and you have won.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to make us happy, and that was it.
Yeah, that was far and away the most impressive suit. There were some other really impressive suits, of course, but like the level of detail in that one.
Yeah, there were some other contenders
Hmm.
during the contest anyway. Like there was a really good Baragon, or was it Varan? Was it No, it was Varan.
Here,
No, yeah, I do think it was Varan. I don't think it was a Baragon.
Oh yeah,
Unless
I think I saw that suit.
Unless I'm misremembering.
I think
The two girls who did the Cosmos were really cool.
Oh, I loved them.
And they could sing. I'm
Oh,
trying to
Kim
remember
sent me
if
a video.
I'm
It was
trying to
great.
I'm trying to remember if it's the same girls who have come before dressed
I think
as
they
Mothra
are.
fairies. I think they just do a different version of them. Although there were some little girls who were the original Shobajin from Mothra 61, and they were adorable. I saw them wandering around.
They were
got
very
and got
wholesome.
pictures. Yeah. I'm trying to remember, did they have like a brother or something, like there like another kid who was there as Mothra, which made it even better?
Oh my god.
or a Godzilla, I think.
I can't
Oh,
remember.
I think it was a Godzilla.
Okay, that's what it
Yeah.
was. So they're probably yelling at him
I'm
about his
looking at-
language.
I'm trying to look for the picture right now. Let me see.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and there was another little girl who came as Gia as part of the costume parade. She was adorable.
So cute.
Yeah, she was really good.
Hmm.
I
Any
just
other
applaud-
standouts?
I was just gonna say I applaud everybody who
Mm.
takes the time to put together like those costumes because it's so time consuming.
I could
Like
never.
many of them are preparing for that like a year in advance sometimes. Like it's so cool.
Yeah.
And of course, outside the costume ball, sometimes when two people dressed as monsters meet, they do what monsters do.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of the fun aspects of cosplay is seeing people stay in character and do things.
Mhm.
It's I think that's one of the more underappreciated aspects of cosplay, because a lot of times people just walk around being themselves in costume.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know?
Actually, I think it was on Saturday, early in the morning, I ducked into the Dojo Studios room just because it was a little cooler and quieter in there. And as I was heading out, this one particular guy was suiting up as Gudon from the Ultra series, and he asked if I could help him get his suit and hands on, which I did. And then once he
Aw.
was out, had a battle with Pagos. So
Oh,
That's
nice.
kind of an honor being able to help somebody suit up. Like I
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
I
Shin-
will admit, one of my G-Fest aspirations is to make a costume for the show. I'd like to do Jet Jaguar, but that might still be a little challenging.
the real challenge would be to do the first episode singular point one and figure out how to do the little baby legs.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Ooh.
Although it might, if I did the OG, I could be funny and maybe have like a little toy or prop or something that looks like that and just kind of cart it around. I don't know.
Yeah, never know.
I would like to be able to put a little speaker in it that could play either the song or the sound effects. I think that would be kind of fun. And his mouth just looks like a grill anyway, so you could pass it off as a speaker pretty easily. Use it as a speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Although
Yeah,
then
I
you
unfortunately
could-
lack.
Yeah,
I
no.
unfortunately lack the skills to do that. I would need somebody either to do it for me or help me.
And the other problem is that if you did put a speaker in there, then it's right against your own mouth. So unless you make the head absolutely huge, and then it's disproportionate.
Oh, so I could be what was that? That's the Super Defo whatever
Defo
action
reel?
figure.
Mhm.
Yeah, what?
Defo reel is it called?
The Defo reel. It could be Defo reel. Jet Jaguar. I don't know.
So yeah, there were good cosplays. There were also, of course, a bunch of big celebrity names there.
Mhm.
And I know I didn't necessarily make it to all the different celebrity things or the autograph room that often, but I'm sure you guys did, and you've encountered them. We saw
Yeah.
them all at the opening ceremony, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got to meet
Ah.
Alan Henry for sure.
Ryota.
Sweet.
Ryota, yeah.
I love Ryota. She's so tiny and cute. I can fit her in my
And-
pocket.
So funny too, like joking around, like love her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to meet her at All Monsters Attack last year, which was pretty fun. And yeah, I did not realize how tiny she is.
So tiny.
She's like 4 foot nothing. I mean, it's just crazy.
That's why they had her play Baragon against a huge Godzilla, right?
I've met him
Yeah.
too, and he's pretty tall. So,
Mm.
but yeah, and what was really funny is, I had a friend who said like, now don't you go be weird and go like rah in front of her all the time. She was embracing it. She knew that she's like, that's my thing, and I'm just going to embrace it. And I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what? I mean, that's the whole reason she's there is because she played Baragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I can't.
Yeah.
Well, it's also because she's one of only 2 female suit actors I can think of who've played kaiju. I know ones who have done stuff in like Super Sentai and all of that, but that's a little easier. You're just wearing a spandex superhero costume. Whereas in
Hello.
whoa, hi, somebody got a notification. Whereas
sorry.
it's different being a kaiju where you got to carry around a heavy rubber suit with you. And the only other one I know of, and I wish I could remember her name, was interestingly in another Kaneko movie, which was Super Gauss in Guardian of the Universe. Wish I could remember her name. That's the only 2 I know of. Her and this. I'm gonna look her up.
And of course, both films directed by Shusuke Kaneko.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Another celebrity I was really excited to meet was Jeffrey Angles.
Oh, I got stories.
I got his autograph and told him about how during the pandemic, Dan and we co-translated the first Godzilla novel that he, translated as well. And I showed him some of the art I did for that, and I was just like, man, you're doing Godzilla's work, and I was really excited to hear that Mothra is the next one.
Yeah. Actually, he was aware of you and Dan's translation.
Yeah.
He had actually downloaded it because he wanted to make sure he didn't, accidentally copy you guys, which I thought was interesting. I just found it. Yeah, Yumi Kameyama. Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember during the pandemic thinking, man, someone should really translate this, and nobody has. And then, a few years later, boom, there it is.
Mm-hmm. I missed out on hearing him read from his Luminous Fairies and Mothra translation.
I got a recording of it.
I need to hear this.
Oh, I didn't
because
hear it
that will be a day one purchase for me because I have been fascinated by this even more than the Kayama novelizations. I really want to get my hands on this because I know it is really different from the final movie because Sekizawa made so many changes to it. And I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. I love the original movie. Same. But I would love to see what's going on here. The most notable difference that he talked about was there were 4 fairies instead of 2.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting because 2 feels really perfect, but that might be because they had the peanuts and they were twins and it was great. But I would have been curious to see what 4 is like. Now we kind of got to, we did get to 3 with the 90s Mothra trilogy with Belvira alongside the Elias, which I know makes Donnie happy.
Me? Who? Now, I'm fairly sure, because I got to meet Jeffrey Angles as well. I've been familiar with Jeffrey Angles' work for a very long time. He also teaches English and Japanese literature classes here in Michigan. But so he mentioned the Mothra being the next one, and I gasped so dramatically that I'm fairly sure half the room heard it. And he probably was like, "What is wrong with this person?" But like we had like such a wholesome conversation. We talked about that. We talked about poetry because he's also a poet. Like such a wholesome conversation, and I could tell that he was genuinely excited and happy to be there. And I think that he's going to want to continue being involved with the Kaiju Godzilla convention life, which makes me happy.
Yeah, I think it was a relatively late addition, or at least a late announcement. I was
Mhm.
actually corresponding with him over email. I tracked down his contact information because I had heard him on other podcasts and I was interested in having him on the show. And especially since, I know Robert and Danny who did their own translation. I wanted to talk with them about that and, like literature and all and such. And then I see his name be announced to be there. And then I emailed him again and said, like, you're going to be at G-Fest. I'm going to be there too. And then we actually got to meet in person. And I basically solidified an interview with him on the show at some point or another.
Sweet.
That's good. Yeah. Even he expressed interest in being in Growing Up with Godzilla in the future.
Oh, that
too,
would be so perfect.
I think he's really eager to like do a lot of networking and make connections, which makes me really happy.
Maybe I should get him on my show too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's coming
Do
back.
it.
Maybe.
I see how this works. Someone makes a video that goes viral and she's like, I got bit by the YouTube bug again.
No. Maybe.
Sometimes you need the, reinvigoration. That's totally
Maybe I
cool.
need a little boost, and I quite honestly got a content creation boost from this G-Fest because so many people came up to me and Donnie actually, like thanking us for making those videos, and it's like,
It was really cool, but also kind of intimidating at points throughout the weekend.
I don't know how to respond. You're welcome.
Somewhat like, well, because there were a few people, I think this was Saturday, like a few people came up to me and they were like sharing a lot of like trauma and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God. Well, one, thank you for finding me to be a safe space to share those things. But I don't know how to respond to you. There's like a line of people, like it was at the signing that I did with Matt. So I was just like, oh my goodness, you're being very vulnerable right now in front of so many people. Major kudos, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just happy that G-Fest seemed to be pretty drama free, at least in my circles. I know some of us were a little bit concerned. As I put in my little description here, I'm one of Kim's boys. So in case Kim ran into any trouble, she'd be like, help me. And then we would come and things would happen. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I usually like to wander around G-Fest alone, but this year I had some things happen that kind of made me want to keep my guard up. So yeah.
Not at G-Fest. You talk about
not at G-Fest, like before G-Fest, like some crap went down.
Yeah, we were kind of cautious going into G-Fest. I know, like, I literally, I mentioned this in my recap video that I did, but I almost ended up not going. But ended up going because, had the panel, had the signing, and I was like, you know what? Gonna just do it because I'm not gonna let people, dissuade me from doing something that I find enjoyable, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you did because I have no idea what I would have done to replace you for the writers panel. I was excited to have you on the writers panel this year.
Oh,
I did hear that OmniViewer guy was there, but who would want him?
Well, but the thing is, he didn't make up his mind until relatively last minute. But I probably would have called him up anyway and said, like, "Hey, Donnie's not coming. You want to be on it again?" So,
how about you down there? You got anything to say?
No, I walked in to the autograph room, but I didn't get anything from them. Didn't meet any of them. I think I went into the Ryota panel for a minute, but I went to do something else, so I didn't really get to see them much.
You know what? Maybe next time, right?
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, they had technically had more special guests this year. I wonder if they're kind of trying to compete a little bit with AMA because that was one of AMA's shticks is getting gobs of guests. And G-Fest tended to prioritize getting a handful of really high profile guests. This year, not quite as much. I would say probably Ryota and Alan Henry were probably the really big draws. Ryota had the most popular panel of the entire weekend.
Standing room only.
Yeah, it was pretty bonkers.
Wasn't wasn't Ayaka Fujitani supposed to be there, but then
She was supposed to be, and then for whatever reason decided not to, and that was really
Something like-
I was
disappointing.
so mad. I wanted to meet her because I didn't get to meet her at All Monsters Attack.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
she's-
Which was the first. She said that was the first convention she'd ever done ever, and I'm like, and you came to my humble little state of Indiana. I wanted to meet her again to just to chat with her a little bit more. I will admit there was a selfish part of me that wanted to can you do like a little shout out for my podcast, because she can actually she's bilingual, she can actually speak Japanese and English very well. So I would have just been like, yeah, please. And,
Yeah, I was hoping to say hi to her again, as well as get her to sign my copy of Heisei Gamera Perfection, which I got Shinji Higuchi to sign, but no luck.
I had her sign. I think I had her sign my Mill Creek edition of the Heisei trilogy. What I probably would have done if I got an autograph from her again, just to surprise her a little bit, I think I would have brought in my copy of Ultraman Max, because she's in an episode and be like, "Hi, can you sign this?" I know almost nobody would ask you to do this, but can you sign this? That's because a handful of episodes were directed by Kaneko, and she's in one of his episodes, actually, as a major guest star. And I turned into that Leonardo DiCaprio meme when my brother and I were watching. I'm like, look, it's Gamera Girl. Or Gamera's Girl. I don't know.
What's the female equivalent of Kenny?
Kendra.
It's Kendra.
She's the best Kendra.
True. She's very good.
She is best Kendra.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting question we might be able to work with. Weirdest dealer's room purchase?
Most of mine were actually pretty normal. I got the quote unquote weird stuff I got was actually stuff that I did not get in the dealer's room.
So I have a weird thing. I didn't buy it. Actually, Danny DeMana bought it for me. But
The squeaky hammer. I may have been on the receiving end of it once during the weekend.
you knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming, but I kind of relished it, to be honest. It's like the Joker. Like, come on and hit me.
I want you to do it.
I want you to do it. Come on, Kim. Come on, hit me.
Somebody else speak before this gets into a weird place that might get us shut down.
So my strange purchase, which I showed a little while ago, is my Mothra blanket.
Nice.
I saw it and I thought it was a rug at first. Like Kim and I were like, "What is that? What?" So basically, this rolls up into a ball and you can put it in like a Mothra larva plush. And it unzips.
Oh, I didn't know it had accessories.
So I would not have bought it had it not been easy to convert between larva and adult. And I was like, this is kind of brilliant. Whoever thought of this is a brilliant human being. So
yeah, makes me think of my Mothra neck pillow that my sister got me for Christmas.
We have another guest joining us.
Hey guys!
Hello, it's so good to see you.
Yes, sorry I'm late. I just got home from work.
That's
I-
all right.
I got off at 6, so I
Feel free to introduce yourself. That's what
Yeah.
everyone else has done.
yeah. So what I miss?
No, you introduce yourself, and then we'll get started.
Well, everybody knows me. I'm Autistic Lizard Pro, or you could call me Lizard Pro, or whatever you want to call me, or you prefer me as Brendan. I mean, so yeah. So what do you want me to talk about, or what's the topic?
Well, actually, the topic we're on right now would be very apropos for you because, good Lord, you walked away loaded. We were asked what our strangest dealer's room purchase was from G-Fest.
Oh, you want me to talk about the things I got from the dealer?
Well, like the one really weird thing that you got. Like, what's the weirdest thing you got?
Well, I think I have it right next to me, but I haven't opened it yet because I was saving it for a next the things I got from G-Fest review video. But if you want to open this on here right now, I mean,
That's
entirely
up to
up
you.
to you.
It's
It's
up to you,
entirely
man.
up to
it
you.
is so big.
I think I know what it is.
I think so too.
You don't necessarily have to open it. You can just go
I
to the box.
completely
Oh my
agree.
It is Gyrus from Ultraman.
That
Yep.
is gigantic.
I can't
awesome.
believe it was only like $140. Like that, when
Actually,
I saw that box,
150 actually.
yeah, 150. It's still, when I looked at that and I saw how big it was and all that, I was like, why is this not twice as much? Brendan really got a deal on this.
You
thing.
got that on Sunday, right? So maybe that's the
Yeah, on the
day
last
when-
day.
Maybe,
that's why
but
everyone's
you
trying to get
know,
rid of everything. Yeah.
I
We should have gotten that Biolante on the last day because
I
that's
know,
$60 for that little Biolante. I was like, and so like comparatively, I was like, that was 150, but the little Biolante was 60. What is going on right now?
What vendor did you find that at?
I can't
I think it
remember.
was.
Because if it was a Bandai, the place to go for Bandai's is Beast from the East. Like, they have the best Bandai prices in the entire room.
Yeah, I
And
think it
they're
was.
second in the mail.
I think it was right next to the one of the Bandai's and the area where you enter. You go straight and
Yeah.
then you take a left.
Yeah,
That's
well,
right.
I'm just saying, like my top 3 vendors when I'm in there. Usually, like the 2 that I always make sure I go to now are Beast from the East and Toku Toy Town. One, I'm friends with both of them, especially Jay Key from Toku Toy Town, but they both have the best prices that you're going to find for anything that they're selling there.
Yeah.
And then I also like hitting up Otaku America and Seismic, and then the guy who has the physical media store. I can't remember the name of his shop, unfortunately.
Oh, hey, so let's pick a vote. How many of you want me to open that box right there? Like, let's pick a vote. How many of you want me to open the box on this stream? Raise your hand. No one?
I mean,
It's up to you.
I say you
Yeah.
save it for your
save it for your channel.
show
Yeah.
because
Save it for
Yeah.
your channel.
But- and
now
I-
everybody's going to be waiting excitedly
Yeah.
for that
Yeah, yeah.
video.
So-
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go check out his channel, Autistic Lizard Productions, and
Mhm.
you'll be able to see that.
I was gonna say, Brendan, I am looking forward to that video because I want to see what that thing looks like. Because that looks
Yeah.
nuts.
Definitely.
But you do realize this means you're gonna have to start watching Ultraman, right?
Yeah.
You should watch. You would like Ultraman. You would really like Ultraman.
Yeah. I also got other stuff too that you guys might be jealous. Hold on.
Oh, he's excited now.
Okay.
All right. While he's picking out stuff, what about everybody else? Jake, I know you picked up a few things.
I didn't get anything weird. One of the coolest things I got was a Bandai Kamen Rider V3,
Yes.
and that was pretty cool. I think my biggest purchase was probably the SH Figure Arts Ultraman Blazar.
That was
Yeah.
cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
Brendan, what do you got there?
What is that
It,
now?
it's Godzilla's dorsal fin, but it kind of for a moment I thought it was a lamp, but no, it's some sort of glass plate models.
Oh, you could
that's
use
cool.
that for food.
Kind
Like
of
Yeah.
what?
it's like
There
a
you
serve.
go.
It's like a serving
Like a
dish.
candy dish or
Like
something.
a candy
Oh, that's
dish, or you can put
cool.
it's a candy dish, or you can put some vegetables and dip in it. Like, man,
Or you
Or
can
an
put it like
ashtray,
that if you
yeah.
want.
I also got this little X Plus figure.
Oh,
He's
that's
so
cute.
cute. I want him.
That's the Final Wars one, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Final
Wow.
Wars. And wait till you see this.
Oh yeah, that one.
Ah.
That's nice.
62 with the iceberg base.
Yep, and I actually found this before I bought it. I found one that looks like this, but it costs expensive. It was cost like 200.
Mhm.
But lucky for me, I found another one of this that cost cheap. It cost like 150. It's a good thing I got the cheaper one.
You one of the things that makes going to the dealer room a little difficult is I always tell people, you never buy something as soon as you see it unless you know absolutely that you want it. In case you've either find something you want more or you find it cheaper somewhere else. I have had that happen. A few
Mhm.
years ago, I wanted to get one of the Bandai, or it might have been Playmates, I don't know, but it was probably when Playmates was just reusing their molds of a King Caesar. I found it at one vendor for $40. Then I went to Beast from the East and found it for $20. So
Oh,
guess which one
yeah.
I bought. But it was so crowded this year that was almost impossible to do on the first day.
And
Oh, I
some-
know.
And
And then
sometimes,
people were buying so much stuff that you might have missed out on some things.
and sometimes you just know what you're gonna get. Like, I didn't see these two anywhere else, but at the one table that was carrying them. So obviously the moment I saw them, I was like, yeah, even if I don't fully recognize where they're from, and by the way, thanks to the people in the comments who identified Demogorg and Bios, I mean, still got to snatch them up while I can.
Yeah.
But then it comes to something like Kaiser Ghidorah, they're all over the place. So
Oh yeah.
there you hold out.
Omni,
Yeah.
can you highlight Foxtrot Studios' question about budget? I think that's an interesting question.
This one.
So
Yes.
I always go to G-Fest with a budget because like going to any convention can be kind of pricey because you're considering like your hotel stay, travel expenses, right? I know personally I brought all of my own food mostly to G-Fest.
Same
because-
here.
Me too.
Yeah, the Kim gave me some Velveeta macaroni and cheese at G-Fest. It was great. But like sometimes you have to come up with a budget because it can get pretty pricey.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I had to bring my food too. I actually packed myself peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I know kids eat those. I mean, and I
nothing
still
wrong
eat
with
those.
eating
Okay, nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
I'll still
I
eat
still
it.
had
eat
a
peanut butter and jelly all the
the other
time.
day.
yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
And are we like get to the topic about panels and the Pickwick Theater next?
Oh yeah, sure. We can get to panels, and I think I know why you specifically want to get to panels.
Yeah, because
you
that was my first panel.
Well done. Well done, good sir.
Yeah. Except, go ahead, talk and tell the people more about
How
it.
did it feel? What was it like?
Oh yeah, I was feeling so nervous when I did my very first panel at G-Fest, my very first time to talk about my favorite childhood and my very first Toho Godzilla film, The Return of Godzilla. And I did recorded it, the whole panel on my phone, but sadly it recorded most of it because of my phone storage got full. Yeah, but I did clear out some of the storage before I left. I mean, but at least I did got most of it. I mean, but the one thing that didn't,
right?
yeah, but the one thing that I didn't record is just the ended part. It's just about the home videos of the different dubbings. That's all. Yeah, I was like so nervous when I go up to stage. I mean, I remember when I was going up there talking to the audience. I mean, I was like so sweaty, and I don't know why I was so sweaty on stage. I mean, I don't know if that's like normal. It's like,
It is.
Oh, yeah.
When you get
normal.
nervous, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Heart's pounding, you're sweaty. It's a hot mess.
Yeah,
But, you know, the more you do panels, the more you'll get used to it, and it'll feel a lot better.
I'm glad you brought that up, Donnie, because since I did my first panel, it was kind of a great experience for me. And then talking to the audience and doing the slide with some of my best friends who did the slide for me. That I don't know if it was you, Nathan, or Daniel.
Danny
Yeah.
did. Danny handled the PowerPoint and the slides, and then you had me and Neil Reeby, who should. Well, no, he was going to join us tonight, but he's got to entertain a friend. Oh my gosh, I guess we're not important enough.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up about the doing more panels, Donnie. I mean, I was thinking about doing more panels for next year, maybe 2 or 3 this time.
Right.
I have a list in my head what panels to talk about. But since next year is going to be the anniversary of Terror of Mechagodzilla and the Destroyer, and I was thinking about doing one of those panels for next year. But
You're gonna have to get in line because I know there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna want to do those.
Well,
yeah, but
Including
who knows?
me. I really want a terror panel next year because that was my first Godzilla film.
Yeah, and I did a podcast episode of it with you and Neil, and maybe we can do that again. If
we'll see, man. It's a year away, and we got.
I'm just saying, you never know.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk up your panel a little bit because I thought you came up with one of the with what I thought was one of the funniest ideas and cleverest ideas from any of the panels the entire weekend, which was getting us all Dr. Peppers.
That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
funny.
that was actually my idea.
That's what I mean.
That's a
I'm
great
talking
idea.
that up because you got us all Dr. Peppers instead of
Yeah,
water. So we'd occasionally will hold them up. It's like, drink Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, because I know that every panel that people usually bring bottled waters, but since we're doing the 40th anniversary for the Return of Godzilla, aka 1985, I mean the U.S. cut does have a little cameo of Dr. Pepper.
A little cameo. That is blatant product placement.
I mean, product places. I mean,
good lord. There's like an entire hallway shot that just has the Dr. Pepper vending machine in the center the entire time.
And since the U.S. cut has a product place for Dr. Pepper, I thought, why not bring 4 Dr. Peppers for the panel instead of water to celebrate the anniversary of this film.
Yeah, they're even mentioned in the credits. Special thanks to the Dr. Pepper Bottling Company. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is so goofy. Yeah, it's so goofy. And then, and actually what's even funnier is that not only did you have that, but they had an actual Godzilla Dr. Pepper commercial.
Yeah.
And that commercial's insane. Okay.
Yeah.
I also remember in the 85 cut when Godzilla's falling into Mount Mahara, you can see the one guy who kept making all the quips, just going like
oh my god! Someone tell me what accent that guy was doing, because I can't figure it out to this day.
It's a Merkin.
I'm not
accent.
sure.
The lizard is down for the count.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about the movie.
Yeah, and the reason why I did the 40th anniversary of the Return of Godzilla from 1984 is because it's one of my very first Japanese Godzilla film. Well, the U.S. cut is because it's from my childhood, and it's been 21 years since I first discovered that film, and I decided I want to do a panel about it. And
nice. Yeah, it's my first one too.
And when I talked about this at the panel, it actually takes me back to my childhood that I went to my local video store, which I just went there a few days ago, where that it was replaced by Just Pizza, and I actually brought my copy of video cassette and that I had, the one I used to rent all the time. I took a picture of it and I took a picture with the Just Pizza restaurant in the background where the video store used to be. Yeah.
And that day, your girlfriend and your family came, so I got to meet all of them, which was really fun afterward. And I told them all they should be really proud of you, and I was proud of you. I still am.
Yeah, and I'm glad you all got to meet my family there. My girlfriend, that's ChrisVerry99. That's the name of her YouTube channel. And I did have her on one of my podcast episodes for the All Monsters Attack episode, which everybody hates, aka Godzilla's Revenge.
Nah, not everybody hates it anymore.
I love Godzilla's Revenge.
It's a wonderful.
I was going to say it's gotten popular to reevaluate that one now. So.
Yeah.
So it used to be the hipster thing to like it. Now I guess it's the hipster thing to hate it. I don't know, because it's just
do hipsters still exist?
I don't. Well, I mean, I am literally looking at a book on my shelf that I got in my weird item was I got a box of stuff from John LeMay through Neil Reeby, and one of the things that was packed into this thing was Kaiju for hipsters. So apparently they do, and that was written by Kevin Derendorf. So who denies being a hipster, which is the most hipster thing you can do.
That cake looks good.
Everybody want cake?
Yes,
always.
Send it to the screen, please.
Give it to the whole
say.
Well, too bad. I mean the last piece.
No. Well, anyway, so that was Brendan's panel. I was on 4. I was on his Return of Godzilla panel. Thank you, Brendan.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, there you are. And then I was on the next panel I did was the Kaiju Writers panel with Donnie and Daniel and Dane Krull, who writes the Goryeo novels, and Neil, who used to be the moderator for it, but he passed that along to Daniel and I, which is it's big shoes to fill when Neil has to pick two of us to run things. So that was our traditional Q&A panel. We had some really good questions.
Oh, so many good questions.
We had some really good ones.
Sorry to interrupt, Nathan. I mean, I forgot to mention, before and after my panel. I mean, before the panel, I mean, the strangest thing, I mean, it's never happened to me before. Last year or the year before, I ran into one of my fans.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yep, it was before the panel, and then right after the panel, I ran into more fans in the dealer room and the game room.
Sweet.
Okay, that's really cool.
That's
really
pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's never happened to me.
I'm
before.
a little surprised, to be honest. But anyway, so we had a good time with that one, and I know Neil and several of us got some very positive feedback on that panel. We had you counted our attendance, Donnie. It was crazy.
We had 134 people.
134.
I was I didn't know that room fit that many people, but apparently
I kind of figured it did. I'm thinking back on all the times I've been on the writers panel since 2017. It was kind of funny. I literally got on it in my first trip to G-Fest 5 minutes beforehand. That's how I became friends with Neil. It's hilarious. But I trying to remember if that was probably the most people we'd had in attendance. I want to say it might have been, but apparently I think it would be safe to talk about this. I don't know, but let's just say Neil was contacted by one of the organizers who thinks that we may have to expand that beyond just a simple Q&A panel. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because I don't want to make promises, but he kind of gave us carte blanche to basically do a mini writers conference and just take over a whole block of time slots and have our own space like the modelers and the artists, which I am really excited about that possibility.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Awesome. That is just crazy to me, but that's how big this has gotten. And Danny and Neil and I were already during the weekend, we're just kind of figuring out what could we do with that, because we were basically given a blank check, and we don't want to abuse our power. And then I was on the Satsuma the next day. I had two panels on Sunday. I had the Satsuma tribute panel, which I volunteered to be on because for some odd reason they were having trouble getting people on it.
Huh.
Yeah. But they were trying to make the main focus be people who had a lot of personal interaction with him. And I guess they were struggling with that. I've had some fan interaction with him, but I was more qualified to just talk about his work. But it was me and Nick Huber, and I wish I could remember the last guy's name, but they talked about a lot about the personal experiences they had with Satsuma. I talked about my fan interactions. We talked about his work, surprised some people with the kinds of stuff that he had done. Like a lot of people were surprised to find out that he was in Pulgasari, apparently. But then kind of on the fly, I said, let's ask people from the audience to share their stories and thoughts on Satsuma, which I think was very beneficial because we were kind of running out of things to talk about 25 minutes in. So we were able to pad out the rest of our runtime with that. And then I will say probably my favorite, as much as I love the writers panel, I think my favorite panel of the weekend that I was on, I also loved your panel too, Brendan. Just wanted to make sure I put that out there. But that Godzilla 70th panel was stacked.
Oh,
I love that panel. I said at the beginning when we started, it's like I couldn't have asked for a better crew to talk about the original movie than this, because it was me, Dr. Jeffrey Engels, that was the most exciting one for me. It's like I get the panel with him. Oh my gosh, I was flipping out a little bit about that. And then Daniel and Kevin Horn and Elijah Thomas of Kaiju Conversation, all of us. And that panel should have been 2 hours because we could have gone on so long. We were kind of like breezing through all the really important stuff that we needed. We felt like we had to mention. Yeah,
It-
for that
Wish I
panel.
could have
I
seen
got-
that one.
I gotta mention, I mean, the suit actor, Kasumi Sasama. I mean,
Kenpacho Satsuma, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I like to talk about him too. That was on my panel. I
Yeah,
mean, we did
yeah,
talk
we
about
did.
a little bit. I mean, I was so ashamed that I never got a picture with him from G-Fest back then. I remember during the panel, I mean, I did mention that he's like a great suit actor, and I did cry almost a little. I was like, "Could you give me 1 minute?"
Yeah. But anyway, what about everybody else? Not well. Robert, you had panels. I think
I did have
I
one
think
panel.
you're the
yes.
only other person on the stream right now who was in a panel.
Yeah, I was in a panel with Dan, Greg, and Samuel. It was called When Dinosaur Comics Ruled the Earth. And we just talked about dinosaur comics. I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I watched the video of it. I wished I
good.
was there, actually.
Yeah.
But I think that was when my Satsuma panel was going on.
Yeah, it's kind of tough that way because all the panels are at the same time. But yeah, it was just fun talking about like Dinosaurs Attack and all those other great comics. Xenozoic Tales is a great one, and yeah, whole lot of room to talk about that. I remember at the end of the panel there was this little girl that raised her hand and was like, "You guys forgot Devil Dinosaur." And we were like, "Sorry, it's just we'd be here for the entire convention. You can make a whole convention out of dinosaur comics, that subject so vast."
Clearly, that's a goal for the future.
Mm-hmm.
I could say, well, I paneled with you for the writers panel. I think it was last year, correct?
Yeah, last
You were
year.
on the writers panel last year. I'd love to panel with Omni. I'd love to panel with Donnie again, with Brendan again. Jake and our co-host Christopher Reiner, we're already talking about how we could do a panel together next year. I'd love to panel with Kim again. Like everybody in this stream, I want to panel with you either for the first time or again.
Yeah, like next year, I want to do a panel with all of you in some of the panels. Yeah, I guess it was a great experience for me.
We'll submit a proposal. Huge podcast YouTuber panel just for the heck of it.
I've tried that, but they lumped us all together with the YouTubers one year.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think that covers. Unless anyone else would just like to talk about the panels they attended.
Yeah, there was somebody
who
asked in the comments what a favorite panel that was attended was.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite was probably From Cryptids to Kaiju by Justin Mullis. I just thought that was a very fascinating subject, since I like both cryptozoology and kaiju, and to have the two intersect is like heaven.
I liked the -1 panel. I liked the Final Wars panel. I liked the 70th anniversary panel. Those were all fantastic.
Yeah, the 70th anniversary panel was good, and I did like the writers panel.
And I'm sorry to say this, but to be honest, I never watched any of those panels.
What panels did you go to?
I think I saw I think it is the Sasama panel, I think, or I think the -1 panel a little bit. I think I watched a little bit of that because I was so busy walking around and warm up my legs, and then going to the dealer's room a lot, buying my Godzilla groceries.
Get
it? Godzilla groceries.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I was so busy meeting with Ryota, and that is the suit actress for Baragon. Yeah.
One I thought was interesting was the one that presented the radio ads for different kaiju movies.
Oh, which one was that?
Basically like kaiju radio ads. I don't have the program right in front of me, but like the two guys, basically they had access to not necessarily the best preserved, but as well preserved as they could be, radio promotions for different monster movies pretty much throughout as they would have been relevant, because eventually the advertising a movie on the radio wasn't really a thing anymore. But it's curious because they started with the original King Kong, and they would put visuals to it to see if this did have visuals, this is what it might have looked like. The original King Kong radio ad was 8 minutes long and gave away nearly the whole movie.
What?
Yeah, 8 solid minutes long and tells almost everything that happens.
That's crazy.
And people complain about trailers giving everything away now.
Yeah, or the radio ads for Destroy All Monsters put a surprising amount of attention on Manda. It's they mention Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, Manda. I mean, Manda is significant in destroying Tokyo, yeah, but it's surprising. You wouldn't expect that to be the thing. It was pretty interesting to see and hear all of that. Or this one drive-in ad for King Kong versus Godzilla, where they got this popular country singer from the time to do the narration. He was like, "Hey everyone, I'd like to take a minute to talk to y'all about monsters. Not too long ago, there was this big gorilla that came to New York called King Kong, and a few years after that, there was a big fella called Godzilla." The casual way he's talking about it.
Who was narrating this? Some Southern gentleman.
It was a country singer.
Oh, it was a country.
Yeah, I don't remember. Now I feel like I need to look it up. But let me see if I can even find the panel.
How much is anyone willing to bet that he could play the ad without getting copyright struck?
Oh, I don't know if that's possible.
I would not test the universe.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Oh, well.
Yeah. This is why I don't do that on my podcast channel, because I'm always afraid to get copyrighted.
I've concluded at this point that even public domain is apparently copyrighted. Santa Claus conquers the Martians, right, Kim?
Well, the issue is that the algorithm is automated, and if it even detects a phantom of something, it's
I think
evidence
it
that YouTube is run by Skynet.
I think it also has to do with quality, because from what I've seen,
Skynet,
if it looks like it was recorded on a potato, it's probably safe. But if it's the high definition version that some company was allowed to release, then you're in trouble. But yeah, I couldn't find if anyone had uploaded the panel at that point, or if I don't know if I found the correct audio, but it is fascinating to hear. It's just an interesting little showcase. Anyway, anyone else?
Yeah, Donnie, did you bring up yours?
So I went to the -1 panel. I have to say that the -1 panel was probably my favorite. I really enjoyed the conversation. Somebody left a weird so somebody uploaded the -1 panel. I think it was Nick Crispino, and somebody commented being like, "Is this what panels are? Just people sharing their opinions?" And I'm like, "Have you been to a convention?"
Right.
What? Yeah, that's what we do.
I was gonna say, what'd you think they were?
No, I thought it was a great panel, though. I thought it was very comprehensive, and I think that it really was engaging for the audience. Not to be selfish, but I thought that our Kaiju Writers panel was pretty great.
Oh, yeah.
I had so much fun. Great questions. People who are eager to kind of branch into writing, just wanting to know a little bit about, our history and experiences and things like that. That was fun.
Actually, I think the most interesting question we had was I'm glad you brought this up, because I just remember, was the little girl toward the end who asked when we first got published and how old we were. That was really interesting.
Yes.
I talked about when I got my first book published. If we just went by when I got published, period, I was a 19-year-old freshman in college, but I just talked about my book. And it was pointed out, I was like, notice how everybody did it at different times, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah, and everybody just had such diverse experiences too. You know. Yeah, I thought it was wonderful to be able to share all those details.
Mm-hmm.
So, did Kim take a break?
Yeah, really quick.
I think also I saw somebody make a
little
request.
intermission.
No, I saw somebody make a request in the chat. I think we need some moderation in the chat just a little bit.
Yeah.
Hate to be that person to bring it up, but shenanigans be afoot.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean people just posting random stuff?
There's somebody in, I didn't want to call it out, but yeah, there's somebody in there who keeps talking about being on drugs and saying weird things, and it's bothering people.
Yeah.
All right, put him in a timeout.
There. Okay. Anyway, so Brendan mentioned that we should also talk about the Pickwick. That's another big draw.
Yes.
The Pickwick.
Anyone who doesn't know, the Pickwick is this Art Deco style theater that
I love that. Oh, this theater is so gorgeous.
They do the
and guys, believe me, I haven't been to the Pickwick in 10 years.
10 years.
My first time going to the Pickwick was back in 10 years ago, 2014. When Pick was showing an event of showing the original King Kong versus Godzilla, and that I saw it with my stepdad. I mean, that was back in, I think, a month before the first MonsterVerse Godzilla film came out.
Yeah, it is a wonderful theater. It's got a building facade, like a tower facade. And if anybody here grew up watching Siskel and Ebert, you'll recognize it because it's in the last shot of their introduction, their theme song. So it's a massive theater. I actually found out that they played the regular movies in some more traditional looking theaters in the back. Like I had to go through an alley to the back to even find it. And they show us the G-Fest films in the big fancy room. So
yeah, because Godzilla's number one.
Yeah. So
-1.
Yeah, minus one.
And I'll never forget my experience of watching my childhood Godzilla film. Well, it's not the US cut, but it's the original uncut Japanese. That I watched The Return of Godzilla on the big screen.
That was a great time.
Yeah. But I didn't stay for the second feature of Space Godzilla because it was late. I had to do some more research and study for my panel.
Yeah, I understand. I was kind of nodding off a little bit during Space Godzilla, even though I really wanted to see it because it'd been a long time. But yeah, it is what it is. Happened with Final Wars too. I was like, gotta stay up. Oh, the Kaiju fight.
Final War.
Final War. Late.
It was so late. It was way past my bedtime, but I had fun. That was my first time seeing a film at the Pickwick. It was wonderful.
Oh my gosh!
I know. I used to be one of those Godzilla Final Wars haters, but now I'm obsessed with that movie, and just getting a chance to watch it was a treat.
That was the most packed screening of the Pickwick I've ever seen.
He's really happy to hear that, Donnie.
That's great. I think it was a sold out screening. I think that's the first time Pickwick sold out.
Or it was really close.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Final Wars back in 2005 at G-Fest when it first premiered.
Ooh.
I think they even interviewed me for like a little thing. Like there was a lady with a microphone outside the theater just asking people what they thought, and I was like, it was great.
Yeah. What was the energy like back then? Like being that was like really fresh after the movie came out.
Oh, people were just cheering, and it was a great time.
I was gonna say Robert's been to more G-Fest than all of us put together.
I started going in 2002.
Yeah, and I'll never get like when I saw The Return of Godzilla at the Pickwick. When Godzilla first appeared, everyone was cheering, everyone was clapping, and was wow.
Yeah,
every time Godzilla appears, especially when he was woke up when lightning is waked him up from the Super X. Everyone's cheering for that part too.
Every time Godzilla appears, or anytime Don Fry appears.
Don Fry.
Yeah.
Or
that
if
part
anytime
he-
Return for Don
Fry
Fry or
does
his
something.
mustache.
But yes.
Cannot separate the two.
and not just Godzilla. Everyone was cheering at the one scene when there was a meeting with the prime minister and this like American music background to it when the Americans and the Russians appeared. Everyone was cheering for the American scene when the American flag appears and with the music background to it. Everyone was cheering for that part. It's almost like people saying like USA, USA, USA.
America.
Kinda.
Yep.
Although, yeah.
The only other time I've seen the audience that rowdy was back in 2019 when they showed King of the Monsters, and I actually made a count. They literally cheered every 5 seconds
Oh wow.
on average.
You
I heard-
should have
Sometimes sooner.
yeah, you should have saw the GXK screening. It actually it wasn't as big as Final Wars, but it got just a little bit rowdier. I was stunned.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I don't know why people thought back then that movie sucks.
Final Wars?
Final Wars.
No. I'm talking about King of the Monsters from the Monsterverse.
Oh. Well,
Oh.
people had their reasons, but yeah.
I don't know why people said it's because of the rain and the
Yeah,
fog. And
but we're not here to
I'm not
talk
gonna
about
get
the
into
we're
that,
not
yeah.
here to talk
It
about
just
the
is what it
movies.
is.
It's been
Yeah.
vindicated by now, I think.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I do hope somebody took picture or video of the Final Wars screening and sent
Somebody
it,
did.
I'm pretty sure John
send
did.
it, but I wanted them to send it to Kitamura so he could have some validation.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know that film basically has a cult following at this point.
yeah.
I will say this, of the Godzilla anime we've gotten, the live action movie is the best one.
You got a point.
Wow.
It did feel like an anime a little bit.
It really did. When this time watching it on the big screen, I was like, yeah, this really is live action anime, isn't it?
Yeah.
Heavily influenced by the
Matrix.
Matrix and the X-Men, but
Oh.
Well, but the Matrix was inspired by anime.
Very
Right,
Dragon Ball
true,
Z-ish
that's the
too, in my
show, yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, there are some Dragon Ball Z moments.
Yeah, which Jay could tell us all about because he's probably the biggest DBZ fan in this stream.
I mean, he does.
I
have
doubt
a-
it.
Yeah.
I doubt
Well,
it.
like when I go to G Fest next year, I know I usually stay for like 2 nights or three. Oh, this year I stayed for 3 nights. Well, maybe next year I will stay 4 nights. And
Stay until Monday?
yeah, like
Okay.
because usually I usually leave home right on the last day. The reason why I want to pick 4 nights and it's because I want to spend more time with you guys. Yeah, that way I can pack up and leave Monday morning. Yeah, it's kind of like some of you did.
Mm-hmm. Some people actually got stuck in Chicago.
Oh,
for an
poor
extra
Elijah.
day. I felt well.
Sweet home Chicago.
His train got canceled, and then they had nasty weather go through. So it's like
Oh,
everybody who
no.
left the day before or that morning really lucked out because it got
Oh.
nuts.
Yikes.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that crazy storm the other day. Yeah, I was got there were like tornado sirens in my area.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
But lucky for me, I got home right on time.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean, I left on Monday, but I got out before the storms hit. So
yeah.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I'm
Yeah.
glad my flight home got delayed by like an hour, but fortunately it wasn't more than that because I would have got stuck in that too.
Oh,
Yeah,
my.
yeah.
Hmm.
So that's the Pickwick. Did anybody go to the film festival downstairs?
I did watch a little bit, like that weird like Mothra Plus video with
For the
Pro.
film fest, for the
Baby
film,
Mothra.
for the
Video contest.
Yeah, short video contest. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I could have gone down to see the lake because I think that looks like a good, interesting movie effects
Yeah.
wise.
The DVD,
Well, it's
the DVD and Blu-ray is pretty easy to come by. So
and it's streaming on all the free platforms, I believe.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. But yeah,
But
I only went to.
also,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I only went down to for the amateur video contest to see just a couple of films like Elijah's film, which was really good. It's mainly what I went there for.
Yeah, same here.
But
although I will admit I had to run out of there right after his play because I needed to get to the it was one of my panels. I think it was the
panel. I think it was.
Was it the Satsuma? It might have been the Satsuma. I had to rush out of there right after his, but I did think some of the other ones were actually pretty good.
Yeah, me too. I had to get to the dinosaur panel, but I was like, I really need to see this first.
Oh yeah, in fact, I made sure to tell Elijah, just like, I am seeing your short film.
Yeah,
there's no getting around this. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, he did a really good job on that, as did everyone involved with the production.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about it, he's been interviewed on Giant Monster BS, and I'm going to do a live stream with him on Tuesday night to talk about this.
Okay.
Yeah. Which
Of
I'm
course, also in the
and Wednesday night I'll be doing a podcast episode from the Gamera series, Gamera versus Giles, with Kaiju Conversation. That's
Elijah. Yeah, so Elijah's getting
this is my and be honest, I haven't done a podcast in months since the end of April or beginning of May. I mean, it's been months since I've been. I haven't done a podcast, but now this is my first time.
Nice.
Yeah. Getting back to the Film Fest thing, though, they also there were 3 I specifically showed up for. First of all, I was there with a friend on Friday, and I had to show him Monster Seafood Wars. And then I caught the beginning of the Hanna-Barbera Ultraman, which of course got big news about, and the second half of Kaiju Glam Metal Shark Attack.
I got there a little bit late too, but that was the one I wanted to make sure.
I doubt we missed that much vital at the beginning.
Yeah, I wanted to see it because it was premiering actually at G Fest. Crowdfunded and made by SRS itself, and yeah, it was something.
It's yep, of all the kaiju movies I have seen, it is definitely the one with a glam metal shark in it. The music was good.
Yeah,
the actual glam metal piece, that is. The rest was weirdly like synthwave for some reason.
Yeah. I'm also at a point now where I don't know if SRS is trying to be like an even cheaper version of the Asylum and make tongue-in-cheek, intentionally bad movies, or if that's just
I'm pretty
how
sure
they come out.
I'm pretty sure they got the same people who behind Conga TNT to do this one, because it's a very similar style and even some of the same stock footage, and they're both set in Canada. So that would be my theory. But the Ultraman one is interesting because that's actually finally getting released over here.
Well, it's being released
Somewhat.
again for the first time in 30 years. It was shown on TV. It was released on VHS, but now they've gone and done a new dub of it, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. I wonder if that's how they were able to release it, is because they had to redo the voices. But
whatever got it over here, it clearly worked.
Well, it was made in America, so
as long as it's a good dub.
Got it back over here. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, animation was good. It stuck true to what you would expect from Ultraman, while still, feeling like it was something new, sort of like a new beginning of sorts for a new audience.
Yeah, and credit to I didn't get to watch the whole thing, unfortunately, but credit to the voice actors that redid it. They worked really hard to sound of the era. Like, they tried pretty hard to sound like this would have been made in the 80s. With their performances and such. So, because I rewatched a little bit of the original dub, because you can watch it on YouTube. Someone ripped the Japanese Blu-ray and put it up. It's a gorgeous transfer, by the way. And
Dupro hasn't done anything about it.
No, because they're kind of nice like that. But but I do recommend it. It's an interesting little movie. It was supposed to be the pilot for a TV show, but it never got picked up.
Which means we never got the new Scooby-Doo movie, Scooby-Doo Meets Ultraman.
That would have been awesome.
And you know what would have happened?
Scooby-Doo and Ultraman. That actually would be that would work, I think.
Where he becomes
It is not
Ultraman.
as weird a combination as you would think.
I mean, considering what Scooby-Doo has been combined with.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening, like Scooby and the gang or doing their go to like a haunted house or something, and there's like, I don't know, Boltan is hanging out there, and you know, and they deal with him when he's small, and then like the Science Patrol shows up, and then they try to help him out, and then Boltan gets big, and then Shin Hayata's like, well, I'll see you guys, and then here's Ultraman, and then something ridiculous happens, and Scooby gets gigantic because of course. I don't know. We'll throw Rita Repulsa in there, and she just makes Scooby huge.
For good measure.
Just for good measure.
Love Rita Repulsa so much.
Scooby, you have to use the beta capsule. Will you do it for a Scooby snack?
There you go. That's what happens. That's what happens. That's what happens. Scooby accidentally swallows the beta capsule and gets gigantic.
Ultra Scoob.
Good one, Nathan.
Where are the Oscars for these impersonations?
I was so
actually no.
I used to watch
no.
Scooby-Doo back then.
The beta capsule ends up in a sandwich, and both Shaggy and Scooby eat it, so we can have giant Omega Shaggy, and the meme can be true again.
Shaggy accidentally becomes Ultraman.
No! Ultraman Shaggy. This is gold. Warner
and when he flies,
gold.
instead of an echoing Shoewatch, it's an echoing Zoinks.
Yeah.
Hear it, can't you?
I love it.
Yes. I watched some of the anime Scooby-Doo movies, but I love the 2 live-action Scooby-Doo films that were made in the 2002, 2004, and
yeah. But anyway, did anyone else go to the film festival? Just in case.
I was too busy going to panels and kind of playing in the game room and checking out the cool art.
See, I was only able to spend a short time in the game room, and every time I'm there, I'm like, I want to be here longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the game room. I mean, sadly, they didn't have the Godzilla pinball machine by.
Oh, they didn't bring that back?
No.
I guess they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
they did have the shooter with Robot Godzilla.
And they brought the 3 mini arcades, including the Godzilla Wars Jr. thing that I used to play a lot in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. That's the only game I used to find in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri at Dog Patch or at Miner's Mike. And believe me, Miner's Mike is the place that I used to play my favorite childhood arcade game, The Lost World Jurassic Park. Yeah. Do you guys don't remember that? The shooting game? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's still there to this day. And I love the Godzilla Wars Jr. I mean, and it's never happened to me before. I mean, I've won that game like 3 times. When I shoot the balls in Godzilla's mouth, or when I reach the 10 points.
Nice. But the art gallery also came up though. There were some really impressive ones in there. The multi-layer Hollow Earth thing from GXK. Somebody did like a custom SH Monster Arts Varan figure. There was that huge diorama of that based on Godzilla 2000, and on the last day the monsters weren't in it, so it was like this weird scene of city destruction with a floating heat ray. Excuse me. Yeah. There were some really impressive ones. I mean, there's always some really impressive stuff in there. And Brendan, you actually entered some stuff into one of the art galleries, didn't you? Some drawings?
Yes, I did. I actually brought one of my fan drawings that I made for G-Fest. It is the G-Fest poster. It has the Godzilla Kaiju characters from their... Yep, that's the one. That's it.
I don't know how well you can see that, but there it is. I made sure to take a picture of that for you.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I brought my artwork to bring into the enter the art contest. Well, I didn't won. I mean, they did give me a green ribbon. It's
Sweet.
I don't have the artwork with me. It's still downstairs, and it's but at least I entered the contest, and hopefully I'll enter in again next year. I'll bring one of my fan arts that I already made.
Yeah, the years I entered the art contest, I don't remember winning much either. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and I'll never forget what that room that was downstairs that I went with Nathan. I mean, that one room that Matt Frank was in, and
Kaiju Island.
Yeah, I remember them from the beginning and the middle of the weekend. There was a long line for that.
Oh yeah.
But luckily for me and Nathan, the line was short, and then we actually got there. Look around.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
Matt had some good stuff at his table, like is selling stuff from his collection, I think, and one of the books was the Godzilla 1954 pop-up book. And I was like, ooh, that looks really cool, but it was kind of steep, so I was like, maybe not.
Interestingly, Matt Frank was cosplaying Emperor Antonio the whole weekend,
right.
which was hilarious.
That was funny.
Yeah. I can only imagine how many times he told Megalon to wake up.
Wasn't he holding Jet Jaguar's head at one point going like,
wake up, Megalon!
During our signing, I actually made him. I made him do that.
Make him
Matt,
do
you
that.
need where is this dialogue, Matt?
Please tell me you got that on video.
I did not, sadly.
Oh.
I wish I would have.
Missed opportunity.
Always next year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, but the game room's fun because it's presided over by Galloping Ghost, which is like they just call themselves an arcade, but they're almost more like a museum. They have thousands of arcade machines in a massive warehouse. And for what I understand, what you do is you can show up when they open, pay a flat fee, and then you can go in and play as many as you want. You know, because they put them all on free play. I have some friends and they're based in Chicago. Some friends I have been trying to plan a trip over there at some point because it looks incredible. Just the taste that you get of it when you go to the game room there. It's one of the places that I keep telling myself that I want to broaden my G-Fest experiences. And I feel like that's one, even though you would expect me to be down there, that I never spend enough time in it.
Yeah. That's the thing about conventions, right? So much to do in so little time.
Basically.
Yeah.
So little money to spend.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
Definitely.
I did notice it's a little bit past, but like I did notice a question at one point in the comments of what people would like to see from future conventions, future G-Fests.
Future G-Fest.
And that's a pretty open-ended question.
I was going to say, I've got thoughts, but you know, if anyone else wants to go first.
I don't have anything.
Like, if you want me to go first, I mean, about what my thoughts about G-Fest?
No, what you would like to see in a future G-Fest.
Never really thought of this. I mean, what I want to see in a future G-Fest is, well, to be honest, I don't have anything in mind for the future G-Fest.
Well, I can tell you right now, I do think they need a larger venue.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, they need to either take over more of the Hyatt, because there's a lot of space in the Hyatt that they could use that they don't. Or they need to go to the convention center next door. Like, keep the Hyatt as the hotel where people can stay, but then move over there. I think it'll give people a lot more space and it'd be easier to manage, especially if they're going to start having 10K in attendance. And I also think they need to go back to 3 panels at a time instead of 2. Because I think it would just be easier to manage. It would give you more. It would give you more options, and they might some people might counter that by saying, but isn't that a lot? It's like, yeah, but people are just going to make choices because that's what you do.
Well, there was so much congestion because all the panels are in such close proximity to one another.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Whereas at the Crown Plaza, it was a little bit more spread out, you know,
Well,
with
it
the
was
panels.
Yeah, it was a little more spread out, and they had one room downstairs for the smaller panels. I think it would just be a good idea to do that, and that way you can have more panels on there. I think having more the strength of G-Fest's greatest strength besides the guests is the programming. They have a lot of programming to offer.
Oh, I just thought for a future G-Fest. What I'm looking for a future G-Fest is I want to do 2 or 3 panels for next year, and hopefully for a future G-Fest, I want all of us, including me, to all go out to dinner together.
Okay.
Yeah, since some of you abandoned me.
Oh, okay, let's not talk about that. That was an honest mistake, man.
Okay,
yeah. Let's.
I'm just messing. I won't.
Right.
I'm just saying that's all.
Right. I mean, it sounds to me like you got bit by the panel bug, man. Like you just were like, I need more.
I commend you all for being able to do multiple panels, because one panel for me is plenty, because it takes a lot of bandwidth to do panels.
Which is why it's astonishing that Danny DeManna can do 7.
I know.
Which reminds me, I mean, Donnie, I've already brought up about more panels. I mean, this is the only panel I did for G-Fest this year because it was my first time. I mean, months before G-Fest, after I signed up to do a panel, I mean, my mom, oh my God, this story's gonna go crazy. Like, my mom wants me to just told me that they're looking for more volunteers to do more panels today. She told me I should do more, but I said, Mom, this is be my first panel. I mean, I don't know much about other panels. I'm only gonna do the one that I've been submitted and that I'm hosting about. So,
which is good. I think that was a smart idea.
Yeah, this is a good start. I mean, it's just because this is my first time, and my mom finally understands me.
Yeah. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Each time around.
Yeah. I just feel like my mom is kind of rushing things.
Maybe.
Well, she's probably excited for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a really cool opportunity you got, right? But sometimes you have to be like, you know what, this is what I'm comfortable with, and all of that.
I know for a future G-Fest. Shoot for the moon and get a Takashi Yamazaki interview.
Yes.
Oh, I can tell you, there are so many people I would love to see be guests at G-Fest. I would. Yamazaki would be a huge get. Good Lord. It would be such a huge get. I mean, I thought, honestly, I thought probably the biggest star I've met at G-Fest was Takarada, but man, Yamazaki.
That'd be out of this world.
Yeah.
Be crazy. What about everybody else? What would you like to see in a future G-Fest?
This is kind of a selfish request on my part, but I wish G-Fest would move to Manhattan so I don't have to fly out there.
But you have Kaiju Brooklyn, okay?
That's not the same.
I understand. I get it. My neck of the woods has 2 Kaiju conventions now because AMA's coming back. All Monsters Attack's coming back next year, and at the Crump Plaza again. They're trying to send a message.
And well, lucky for me, I don't have to fly there because I live in Illinois.
Good for you.
Stop making Kim jealous.
Yeah,
I've got family in Manhattan, so
no need to get jealous.
Yeah. I think any traveling is exhausting.
It is.
But flying is particularly exhausting.
And
it's the worst.
Especially if you end up buying a bunch of stuff, because then you have to take into consideration, how do I transport this?
More than I left with.
That's why.
And last year I only brought 1 suitcase with me. I mean, last year I brought a bunch of stuff that some of them doesn't fit in my suitcase, but some of them did. I think I brought a blue bag with me, and then for an extra. I mean, but this year I bought 2 empty suitcases for me.
He
Like,
came prepared.
Yep.
Mhm.
yeah,
I only brought one large suitcase, but it was larger than what I needed to get there. So I was
yeah,
able to
and
bring back.
hopefully next year but if some of you have seen this movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that John Candy's character is like Dale Griffin always carried this giant suitcase with him. He's always dragging around. If I find one of these in stores, I will definitely bring that to G Fest.
Yeah.
Just maybe. I mean, it's just a phrase, and
Yeah. Jake, as a first timer, was there anything that you would like to see in a future show?
No, not that I can think of really. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll know next year. So
Yeah. It's kind of a hard question because G Fest is great every year almost. So it's like, what could they do? They always seem to do the right thing.
Yeah.
and
Go ahead.
and I noticed that it's been a few years. I mean, I think 3 times in a row that Robert Scott Field, who used to be at G Fest all the time, I mean, I think he stopped going there since before the pandemic got started.
Yeah. Which is a little surprising. He was a G Fest staple.
Yeah, I was
translating.
Yeah, and I was like, whatever happened to Robert Scott Field? He used to go to G Fest all the time.
He's still around. He's just not going to G Fest.
Omni, can you highlight Foxtrot's comment about is competition good for G Fest? Because I think that's a good question.
Oh, this one.
And then I have some recommendations for what I think would benefit G Fest in the future. Yes, I do think competition is good for G Fest because that means that we are in a growing and flourishing fandom that's continuing to get bigger. And I do believe that means that G Fest will just continue to keep working toward improving and becoming more accommodating. For example, they just introduced like quiet rooms, like a quiet room now for people to like go and kind of decompress, and which I thought was brilliant. I think that it would be very helpful to have more food options at G Fest in the future, mostly because we kind of get, I mean, there aren't a lot of food options. But I think another thing that would be helpful would be having some like Q&A stations where people can like go up to a volunteer and like ask a question. Like maybe on the lower level, the upper level, because I didn't see any of those, but I saw a lot of people kind of clogging up major lines, asking like registration desk questions, so on and so forth. I think that would be, I mean, pending the level of volunteer help they get, I think that would be really good at helping things flow a little bit more, especially if we see a lot more growth.
Yeah, so help me out here. I know about Kaiju Brooklyn, which Kim, if I remember correctly, Kaiju Brooklyn's actually been around for a while. I just didn't hear about it until like within the last year.
Kaiju Brooklyn has only been around since last October.
It's quite new.
Oh, it's new. I could have swore that is there another one that's been around for a relatively long time besides G Fest? Could have swore there was another one.
Let's see. There's All Monsters Attack.
All Monsters Attack.
One called Monster Palooza.
Yeah, but Monster Palooza is not kaiju focused.
There is another convention in New Jersey called Chiller Theater that has some kaiju stuff. Matter of fact, they have some Japanese actors this year.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like that one's a little bit similar to All Monsters Attack. All Monsters Attack is a spinoff of Days of the Dead, which is a horror convention.
Speaking of, they just announced that All Monsters Attack is coming back to Chicago.
Yeah, that's why we're bringing this up. So
and I was gonna I want to book a room to spend the weekend there, but sadly, my mom said no, only at G Fest.
Yeah. But at this point, All Monsters Attack is probably the most direct competition because Kaiju Brooklyn is all the way on the East Coast, and they're still pretty new.
Yeah.
Whereas AMA is trying to muscle in on G Fest territory.
Yeah. I bought a table for All Monsters Attack next year.
You
so.
did. I was
That's
wondering if you were going to pull
exciting.
I was wondering if you were going to pull the trigger on that because it was pricey, even at the discount that they were offering.
I agree. Yeah, I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm spending about that, a little more than that, at their regular price to go to Gen Con in a couple of weeks. But Gen Con is way bigger than G Fest, or and AMA for that matter. So I'm just what?
Yeah, it seems like table prices are getting more pricey.
I feel the AMA should consider doing separate fees for people who are going to be there to sell toys, because $300 if you're going to be selling toys, that's chump change. But if you're an artist, especially
I don't
someone
know
like you who's
yeah,
for all intents and purposes an unknown, it's just like that's steep.
Yeah, it is. I wish me luck.
Yeah. I guess that guarantees I'm going to spend at least one day at AMA next year.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but sadly, I'm only staying on here for a limited times because sadly, I had to go eat because I'm like starving here. I mean,
okay, that's cool, man.
But at least I got to be join here for only an hour. I mean,
that's fine.
But Ryan, so thanks for having me on here, and
you're quite welcome.
And it was so fun meeting you guys in person at G Fest again for the third time, and I'll never forget for the moment that I first met you guys in person back in 2022.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, so I gotta eat now. So
okay,
go enjoy your dinner.
Bye.
See you, Brennan.
Well,
number 6.
Anyway, I've been thinking about that question of what I'd want to see from future ones. Something I've always thought might be interesting, although we wouldn't have had many options for it, or it might be tricky to find options. I know that when I've gone to some other conventions, like when I went to Anime Boston, they would actually have some of the bands and singers who were known for singing anime themes perform live.
Oh.
And I wonder if it would be interesting to have some kind of live music event at a future G Fest.
They did have
one not last year, but the year before. Was it?
It was Michiru Oshima's.
Yeah, that was unofficially connected.
That was in 2019, I think.
Yeah, 2019. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, well, that was a good time, though.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
I'm thinking either I don't know, have an orchestra play a medley of the different soundtracks, or there are some bands out there that are sort of kaiju themed. I don't know if they're even still together, but there's this Japanese surfer rock band called Daikaiju, I think.
Oh, I've heard some of their music.
Yeah. Or have Victorious come over and do their dinosaur warfare songs or something like that.
Well, I mean, Omni, you actually had an idea for a panel that I think you tried to submit, but they weren't interested in it because it was more of an entertainment panel. And because you and I were corresponding about that for a while, I thought that would have been great to
You mean
talk about that
the potential riff tracks?
Yeah,
the live where we just a group of us are doing a Mystery Science Theater style riffing of public domain dinosaur and monster stuff.
Yeah,
that would be another thing I think would be interesting.
Yeah, because I went to there's an event that gets held at Gen Con that's kind of like that, but for anime. And now what I think kind of ruins it a little bit, at least for me personally, is that all the presenters do this while drunk. Or at least they pretend to be drunk, because they make lots of really random comments that I'm like, I don't even, because they don't script a thing, but so I don't know about that.
Yeah, we would probably want to script ours if it ever even happens,
right?
But I think that's a good idea.
We had some good choices if we were going to do it.
Yeah, we were going to do Superman against the Arctic Monster. This weird stop motion educational dinosaur short that you found.
Which apparently is not as public domain as I thought, as we found out on Kim's stream again.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's bound to be others though. We were gonna try Gamera the Invincible, I think, because technically the English version is public domain.
Sort of, maybe. I'm being told now that it's not quite as public domain as we want to think it is. I don't know.
I think there's a difference between copyright and trademark that can sometimes get in the way of that. But, you know, there's bound to be something. And, you know, even if we we couldn't find any public domain things, that we tried doing stuff that's just, that is technically, I mean, it would fall under satire. So
yeah, actually, Omni, I got it for you. I got it for you. We're gonna plan way ahead with this. We could do a full riff of the original King Kong in 2029 because it'll be in public domain. That's what we'll do. We'll do a full, complete riff of that. Well, convince us, like, give us like 2 hours. We're gonna sit there and poke fun at this movie because it's public domain now.
I'd be there for that.
You want to be on it?
Maybe.
I don't know. I just realized that, like, you could totally do that.
There you go. Now, another question that popped into mind. We've spoken about different experiences from the con. Here's a question for you guys. What would you say was the nicest thing that happened to you at the convention?
Nicest thing.
Like, I've shared the story a couple of times about how the author of this book, a 15-year-old kid, met me at the convention with his brother and his father and talked about how watching my channel inspired him to get this published.
Wow.
And he gave me a copy. I'm reading through it right now. It's moving at a very brisk pace, so let me tell you. I'll probably be sharing my completed thoughts on it in the near future, but like that was something I certainly did not expect to have happen, but it was a very nice experience. Definitely one of the best memories I'll be bringing back. So what about you guys?
I can show you one of the nicest things that happened to me this weekend.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I got fan art.
Wonderful.
Oh,
That's awesome.
That's so sweet.
Who gave you that?
This girl named Ange, who is a little older than I thought she was. She looks 12, but she is actually 19. But yes, I have met her. I had met her last year. I met her last year. She showed me some of her art, like, "Oh, you're really talented." And then she caught me right before I think it was the -1 panel. I don't remember which panel it was, but she caught me before then, and she handed this to me. And she's like, "Oh, I've been waiting for you to see if you were coming into G Fest, and I want to give this to you." And I'm like, "Oh, that's so sweet." Yeah, that was awesome.
That is so wholesome. There was a lot of gift giving this year.
We got stickers. I got stickers too from other fans of my channel. Someone gave me these.
Tim and I also ran into Quasies.
We did want to run into Quasies.
Quasies gave us both like a really couple thoughtful cards and a bunch of stickers. A family relation of Quasies made us little art pieces too, which was really cool. I think quite possibly for me, one of the nicest things that happened to me was during the comic book co-signing that Matt Frank and I did. There were a number of writers and artists who came up to us and they were like showing us their work and kind of like looking for encouragement. And I'll never forget, there was this aspiring artist that came up and had like their entire portfolio of work. Wow. And their parents were there, like, asking for pointers, like how should we guide our child? Like, where should we direct them? And I thought that was really cool to see, like, parents encouraging their kids, both as writers and artists. Like, I wish I would have had that when I was, that age, somebody kind of at least believing in the work from the get-go.
Yeah.
So, like, that was just really wholesome. It was kind of like one of those full circle moments where I was just like, wow, as a writer, like, I'm kind of able to provide that encouragement, that hopefully people might take and benefit from.
Yep. I guess I'll go next. Speaking of gifts, I did have I had some given to me as well. I want to say right now a big shout out to Jakey of Toku Toy Town, who is way too nice to people. He runs Toku Toy Town as a hobby. He's not trying to get rich off of it. His goal is to just help people complete their complete their collections and things like that. So Jay is a wonderful human being, but not maybe technically not the best businessman, but but I love him to death. And that's why I always make sure I go to his shop, because he's just so incredibly generous. And I went over to his store and there were a couple of things there that I was eyeballing, and I'm like, oh, I want to get this, but I was making a mental list and deciding waiting to make my decisions for purchases. But there were two big Ultraman Bandai figure sets there, and I was interested in both of them, but one of them sold. The bigger of the two sold, which was too bad because it had lots of really cool stuff in it. But I went back and I saw that the other one was still there, and I'll show it off here on camera really quick here. It's from 1996.
Ooh.
And one of my traditions as I've been going through the Ultra series is each time I finish a series, I buy a figure of the main Ultra for that to add to the collection. And this helped fill in a couple of gaps for me. I shouldn't say gave it to me. He sold that to me for 50% off. I did not ask him to do that. He did it. I thought he might give me 25% off, but he gave me 50% off. And I'm like, Jay, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, okay. And I just got the money out and gave it to him. I couldn't believe that. I also got this was something I was trying to get at AMA, and I think last year at G-Fest as well. This is a powered Red King from Ultraman Powered, or Ultraman the Ultimate Hero. I have a weird soft spot for that show, but that was courtesy of Neil Reeby. He just saw that I was looking at it. He's like, oh, which one do you like most? And I said, that one, I guess. And he's like, okay. And he just bought it for me. I'm like, Neil, you're as bad as Jay. But I would say probably my top moment, I did have some people who knew me from the podcast or from past G-Fest or whatever. They would come and talk to me. It's like, hey, I like your show and things like that, which is always great. When you're a podcaster, you get recognized for your voice more than anything else. But I would say probably the most surprising one is actually when the G-Fest was over and we were getting to the Red Bar after we tried to go over to go to Caddyshack, and it was closed for the official after party. Whatever. So we ended up just getting dinner at the Red Bar, and everybody else was going off and getting seated. And this really tall dude grabbed me by the arm from behind and kept me from joining all of you immediately. I'm like, who's that? And I turn around, there he was. I recognized him from at least one of the panels. And he said, I went to 3 of your panels this weekend, and I wanted to let you know that I loved every single one of them, and you had some great things to say and blah, blah, blah. You just showered me with compliments, and I'm just like, wow, okay, thanks. You scared me a little, but thank you. Thank you very much. Like, this guy was so excited to see me there that he literally had to come up behind me and grab me by the arm to express his appreciation for what I was doing. And when you're in a creative field like this, and you're writing books, you're doing panels, you're making podcasts or videos like Kim or whatever, hearing appreciation from people it helps keep you going. Mm-hmm. And the fact that this guy was just so excited to express that appreciation for me, to me, I should say, that, that was, it's what, like I said, it's what keeps me going.
I relate with that 100%. Yeah. And I think sometimes we forget that we are really putting ourselves out there when you think about it. So I think we do that though, but we don't expect that level of response face to face. But then when we do get it, it's like deer in headlight moment, kind of wow.
I was kind of taken aback by how much impact my content has had on people.
Yeah. It's a moment where either the imposter syndrome flares up even harder, or it just falls down for a second, and you're like, oh, people do like this.
Oh, you actually look at my stuff and you like it? Really?
I mean, I've had stories from people who tell me that listening to the podcast was, made them think about things they hadn't thought about before, got them through rough patches in life. I mean, I won't name names necessarily, even though I've named this name before, but someone who's a very dear friend of mine at G-Fest told me that listening to the show helped him get through a period of unemployment, and he got so emotional. Every time you bring it up to him, he would get really emotional about it, and I'm just like, wow. And then he just told me, like, he lost his job, and then he just was flipping through podcasts, and he started listening to my Guardian of the Universe show, and it gave him a moment to just be still and hear people talk about stuff that he loved.
Sweet.
I love that.
Yeah.
Still have 2 people who have yet to answer.
I think there was I think it was a panel. I can't remember which one it was, but I left it early and walked outside. And there was a woman sitting out there, and she started talking to me. She was from Virginia, I think. She brought her grandson down here, and I didn't get to talk to him. He was upstairs in the room, but she said he loved Ultraman. He started listening to podcasts, so I got to tell him about Nathan's podcast, Henshin Power V3 coming out.
Yeah.
So I got to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion for her.
Love that.
Mine probably, I already mentioned it, but meeting Jeffrey Angles and getting his autograph and just telling him he's doing Godzilla's work.
Yeah. I could talk to Professor Engels for hours about literature, Godzilla, Japanese culture, teaching, because we've both taught English. So, I mean, just wait until hopefully I get him on the show to be interviewed. That'll be exciting. And Robert, I may as well include you in on that because you help with that translation. So,
Oh, sure.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, just keep you posted.
Yeah.
Those are all good. And I feel like even though we're drawn to them because we're fans of these things, I think that it's those experiences that are the things that make G-Fest and events like them really worthwhile.
He's unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he was able to join us tonight, but Danny, I think, said one of the best lines in the entire weekend. I believe it was, I think it was it during the 70th? I think it wasn't.
No, I think it was the Final Wars panel.
Was it the final? Yeah, I think it was the Final Wars panel. He said some really cool stuff. Yeah, he said some really cool stuff during the 70th anniversary panel as well toward the end. But where he said that the thing that for him, what he thought people appreciated the most about Godzilla, what really brought us to the con and the fandom and everything we do is the joy that it brings us. And it was so good that somebody just clipped that out of that panel and just put that up on YouTube. That by itself, and that should tell you something.
Who knew a convention about monsters could be so human?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit of Godzilla in all of us.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Me
and the Queen are on the same wavelength here. Yeah.
With a big "the end?" question mark. Yeah. Looking forward to the next one then.
Yeah,
definitely,
absolutely.
Yeah, I've already got a list of panel submissions I'm going to try to make.
Oh my gosh.
I might try submitting 1 or 2 myself as well.
I want to do a Godzilla 2000 panel.
Oh, me, Danny, and Danielle. We all want to do a 2000 panel.
Oh, I'd be on that too. I find that to be a pure Godzilla movie. Like, it's got everything you could possibly want from it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I remember thinking it was the most cinematic looking of all the Millennium films, very Spielberg-esque.
I don't know about that. I think 2000 definitely looks more cinematic than the 90s movies.
Maybe
there's some scenes in it there are some scenes in it that are very Spielberg-esque to me.
There are. Some of them look like they were taken straight out of Jurassic Park for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do remember like there was one time I submitted a panel, it got accepted, but by that point I decided I really wasn't able to go. It was the one, Nate, you and I were gonna do. Should I hint at what it was, or?
Oh, is that the? It actually got accepted.
It did actually.
Really? I thought it didn't.
Step out
I'm
of it.
kind of excited. You might want to submit it again.
It wasn't the riffing one. It was it was one where I was going to do side by sides and talk about the similarities between kaiju fights and dance numbers and musicals.
Huh.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I would have called it something like Godzilla versus Fred Astaire or something. I can probably think of something else, but I think there's a lot to discuss there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I didn't know that would have been accepted.
well, I did when I did inform him that I had to step out and not attend. He did say, "Well, submit it again when you're able to, because I need to know how it would work out." So, I think there's a chance.
Wow, I guess I better start working on my homework for that one, because you gave me a list of movies to of musical movies to watch in anticipation, not all of which I had seen. So
I might have to resend it to you.
Yeah, you might have to.
Yeah.
Makes me think of that dance scene in Shape of Water, Godzilla versus Fred Astaire.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of someone, speaking as a dancer, as I do ballroom dance, and I've done some stage fight choreography in a couple of my routines. It's remarkably similar because it's all choreography. It's just that in one it's simulated combat, and in the other one it's it's choreographed movements with a partner, to either present artistry or tell a story or whatever. And when you look at kaiju fights, you have to do the same thing. You have to choreograph the thing. So there's definitely overlap. And I've actually heard that not so much with Japanese productions, but like, I think, what was it? Like, I think it was the awful Double Dragon movie from the 90s. And they were talking about how they had to have a guy wear this big thick suit on set for like some sort of I've never seen the movie, so I don't know exactly what the context is, but they needed somebody to do it. So their immediate thought was, well, let's go find a big muscle man, a bodybuilder type to do it. And he couldn't carry it for very long at all. He looked strong, but he didn't really have the endurance that was necessary to carry the suit for long periods of time. And then they figured out that the kinds of people that they needed to do this were dancers. Yeah, they didn't have the bulk, but they had the endurance in order to do it, which is really interesting. So that's like, there's so many things we could go into.
Oh yeah,
about that.
I've got plenty of ideas for it. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next year as well. And it could only possibly get bigger. This one was huge. I mean, my word. Might be standing room only at every panel next year. Who knows?
Unless they get a bigger venue, like I said.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like that Takarada panel at the Crown Plaza, his last that was like a sauna.
That was a torture chamber is what it was. It's just
it was worth it, but
yeah. That was far. That was a fire hazard, is what it was.
Well, hopefully they figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm feeling like we're winding down, and we could potentially sign off, but I don't want to do that until we're all. Hey, could it be? There he is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he came back. One fun thing I do want to mention is, I don't know if anyone else had this privilege, but did anybody know that Linda Jo Miller secretly came as an attendee?
I heard that.
I heard she was around. I didn't see her, but I heard she was there.
She was
I
there.
saw her,
I
but
bumped,
I did not get a chance to say hi.
I bumped into her completely by accident right before the opening ceremonies on Friday night because I was trying to run around some of the chairs to go talk to Danny, and then I stopped dead in my tracks and was like, Linda, Linda, and then I went over and chatted with her. She's like G-Fest grandma at this point, you know.
That's funny.
She came secretly as an attendee, and I'm like, this is so great. Then we chatted a little bit, and I may have scored an interview with her. So I'm just saying,
Oh,
Nice.
It's cool.
because all the interviews I've ever heard her do, they always focus primarily on the movie, and I'm like, there's so much more to your life than just this movie. Like, I want to hear about growing up as an army brat in Japan and working as a model, as you know, when as a foreigner in Japan, and then everything that's happened afterwards. I've chatted with her about those, and I found out things like she said that she could never be successful as a model anywhere but Japan because she's not tall enough to be to get anywhere to be a model in America because she's too short. And I'm like, really? They would turn you down? I've seen King Kong Escapes. They would turn you down? But it's because, Japanese people are generally shorter. So the requirements to be a model over there are, easier for her. And I was like, I need to hear about all this.
Right.
So I'm hoping to get into that with her at some point.
That'll be fun.
So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pleasant surprise. It's not often that I bump into a quote unquote celebrity who's just there as a regular person,
Yeah. But well, I guess things have wound down enough. Anybody have any parting words they want to share? Anything about looking into the future or
I see what you did there.
well,
I just hope I have enough money for next year.
Yeah, definitely.
Save up, stay hydrated, make an itinerary for yourself, maximize the experience.
I'm definitely
I
driving
see.
next year.
If you all can do All Monsters Attack in May, stop by my table. If not, I'll see y'all at G-Fest.
Yep. If any of you are in the Indiana area, Indianapolis area, want to go and you like gaming, come see me at Gen Con. I'll be tabling there selling my books. Sweet. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing everybody in either at AMA, G Fest, or heck, we'll do some crazy get together for funsies.
Yeah, that would be cool. Also, if you're in New Jersey, in Parsippany, New Jersey, Chiller Theater is going to have Tomoko Ai from Terror of Mechagodzilla and Katsuhiko Sasaki from also Terror of Mechagodzilla and Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Wow.
So,
isn't he the Jet Jaguar suit actor?
Yeah, no, he's the inventor.
Oh, that's right, he's the inventor. Oh, that's right. I'd love to meet the Jet Jaguar suit actor, but
that would be fantastic.
Actually, speaking of Tomoko Ai, Kim, you and I had the privilege of accidentally having lunch with her at G-Fest.
Yeah, that was so
years ago.
cool.
How does one accidentally have lunch with a person? That sounds like a deliberate thing.
It was that little diner place in the main hall.
Perks.
It was during Perks, and I was tunnel visioning super hard that day, and I was like, "Hey Kim, I wanted to see Kim," and we were eating lunch together, and she's just kind of like, "Hey, look behind you, look behind you." I'm like, "What? Ah!" She was a good sport. She's just kind of there, just getting lunch like a normal person. Then when she realized that we recognized her, she's kind of like, "Yeah, I am cool, aren't I?" And I got a free picture.
Oh, me too.
Closest I've ever been to celebrities is I've probably rode in the elevators with people a few times, like maybe the actress that played Miki Segusa, I remember once. But
Megumi Odaka.
I met
Oh my god. So G-Fest 2018 when she was there. So I'm up, and my mom actually came with me that year because my mom does enjoy G-Fest periodically. So my mom is down like having a smoke break, outside of the Crown Plaza. And she texts me and she's like, Donnie, Megumi Odaka's out here. Like just chilling out here. Like why aren't you here? So I go down there and my mom and Megumi Odaka and her husband are just having like this chat, like this.
Wow.
And I go out there, I'm like, hey. Hey. That was so surreal, just chilling outside with Megumi Odaka.
Yeah.
She's sweet. I met her at Chiller Theater in 2017.
Well, there was that time in 2016 when I did go to Japan with Dan, and we had that evening dinner with Takarada and
So jealous.
Oh,
Takarada and Hiroko. What's her last name? She played Fuji. Sakurai.
Oh,
Sakurai.
yeah.
That was a good time.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, got good photos of it.
She's seething over there.
I never get to do anything cool except for G-Fest.
Stop it, Kim. Stop it. You're gonna make me sad.
There's always the future.
Mm-hmm.
We're all young here, kind of.
We're all youthful.
Yes, we're youthful at heart.
Yes.
Some would say immature, but
Yeah, well,
that's another way of putting it.
I continue to surprise people with my level of energy because they're like, "How are you this old?" I'm like, I don't know.
I don't have the energy, but I at least am told I look youthful sometimes, so that gets me through.
Yes.
Yeah. Although you might want to start getting worried if people start thinking that you're not a professor, you're one of the students.
I take it as a compliment when that happens. I'm just like, oh no, I am here to teach you. I'm not here to learn. Well,
I don't know. The kids are going to be like, isn't he just another student? Why is he up here teaching us what to do?
they're surprisingly
What can I say? I
attentive.
got the
Thankfully,
Benjamin Button disease.
it's the only good genetic I have, honestly.
Yeah. That was a bit of a funny thing. I was hearing people talk about how they had to spend like 2 or 3 days recovering from G-Fest. I'm like, perks of being a resilient extrovert, I guess.
Oh, I had to recover for 2 days, like socially. I was like, ooh.
My
In fact, I'm fairly
brain-
sure I messaged Kim.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I messaged Kim and I was like, I'm pooped.
Oh, no, me too.
like-
Me too. My brain was mashed potatoes.
I got home at like 3:30 in the morning because my Greyhound kept getting delayed, and I was like,
no.
ugh. And so it took me like 2 days to recover, get a proper sleep.
Actually, it just dawned on me. I think, can we talk for at least, because I think everybody except for Donnie, I think everybody in the stream was
Wait a
at
minute.
oh
He's back.
It's the Wolfman.
Oh, I literally thought
Must
you
be
were
a full
wearing
moon
a
tonight.
costume.
Okay. Oh, he's
Welcome
back. I was gonna say,
I'm back. I just got done eating.
Okay, I was gonna say, but
Yeah.
actually, that's a good segue because I wanted to take at least a few minutes to talk about our wholesome after party because we had a lot of fun, and we played a game called Horrified. That actually, the Wolfman is very apropos for that. And thanks to Omni over there, who had played the game relatively recently, he saved us a lot of time going over the rules because I had played it before, but it had been a really long time ago. And it wasn't that copy. That was my brother Jared's copy. And, we hadn't played it yet. I got it for him for Christmas because he asked for it. And so, we had a fun time with that. We unfortunately did not win, but we at least made the Frankensteins happy.
Yep, Horrified is a very difficult game to win. You got beaten by the Invisible Man.
Yeah, but like I said, we made
so
the
lucky I
Frankensteins
got
happy.
this figure.
Yeah, that's from the Unmade movie, right?
Yeah.
It is and isn't made. It's weird.
I think it's a fan film.
It is
It's
a fan.
It's like that Roger
Yeah,
Corman Fantastic Four movie.
And this figure's made by YMSF company.
Yeah. So we did that, and then the most intense game of Uno Flip I have ever been in, because whatever you do, don't play Uno Flip with Jake. He starts getting angry.
There was times, yeah.
You're in it to win it, huh?
Yeah, very much so.
I won one game.
But also shout out to Elijah for getting us our own little private space.
Yes.
To go do that.
Yeah.
That was very cool of him. So that was how we wrapped things up. We like good little nerds. We play board games.
Yeah, well, guys, I want to show you something that I got this just a few days ago. I mean, I don't know.
20 Godzilla characters reading lesson short history.
Huh.
Yeah, I actually got this from my tutor, who is also my cousin.
Oh.
Yeah, I bet you guys didn't know I have a tutor who is also my cousin.
No.
Yeah, well,
interesting.
Yeah, she helps me with my reading skills.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and she gave me this cool thing that's some of the things that I didn't even know of. I bet some of you didn't know either. I mean, I don't know if you want me to read some of these pages. I mean,
it's up to Omni. This is his stream.
One or two, sure. We're kind of winding down. It's getting a little late. I don't want to keep people here too long, but sure. You brought them along. Share a couple.
This here was one. This activity may be used to help the student with the reading and this coding and I'll just skip that. I mean, like, who created kaiju? I mean, kaiju, Japanese, or hibern, kaiju, lit, and strange beast, is a Japanese term that is communally. I mean, sometimes I have a hard time with these words. I mean,
it's all right.
Assistant with media involving giant monsters, a subgenre of science fiction. It was created by Agent Tsuburaya and Ishiro Honda. This pit directed many drama, war, and documentaries and comedy films. Mr. Honda is best reminder for directing and co-created the kaiju genre with special effects director Agent Tsuburaya. Godzilla is the first atomic kaiju in the Toho monster films, started in 1954. We all know that. But these films from that time through the 1975 are called the Shona series of monster films. The first monsters seen in Godzilla 2014, the first in the legendary / Monarch monster films is the Muto. Kaiju, literally known as sea beast, is a title proposed for Godzilla and later used by giant sea serpent Boryu. I don't know if that's where it's like Boryu. I don't know if I say it right.
Boryu.
Boryu. Literally known as Future Dragon, is a title used by Anguirus in contrast to Godzilla. Kenchio, literally known as Monster Bird, is a title used by Rodan, the giant condor, and I don't know how to spell this last one.
That's okay, man.
Yeah, so some of these words like fierce dragon is a title used for Anguirus and I did not even know that. Do you all know that?
I had no idea.
That one
No,
slipped
I have a few more, but just like somebody says, we run out of time. I mean, just so you all know this about this first page. I mean, that my cousin gave to me. Yeah, so these words.
That's cool of her.
Yeah, so these names are also known for another name for are used for Anguirus. I mean, and for Rodan. I mean, I did not even know that.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is how far I can go because I'm a slow reader.
It's all right.
No worries.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's
at
really
least I have
cool.
my tutor to help me help my reading skills better.
Well, and at least your tutor is also kind of tapping into things that you're interested in to kind of help with that too. So
Yeah, and me and her were starting to read some big chapter books, like kind of like the ones that one of you made. But I'm reading the one about Michael Vey. There's, I don't. It's like a book series. It's about this boy who has electrical powers, and his character almost sounds similar to Alyssa Charpentier's character Twilight a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just a little bit. I mean, it's not like a dark kaiju related thing. It's just like a boy was born with electrical powers in the real world.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If you guys don't know about those book series, I'm only reading the first one, so I would definitely will show you guys some of these book series maybe later on.
Okay.
Cool. For now, though, I think it's about time to wrap things up. So does anybody have any parting words for our viewing audience? Anything they want to promote? Anything they want to say? Anything they want to hurl insults at? I don't know.
Why would I insult anyone in this stream? That's why. I start roasting. Ghidorah eats. Well, he doesn't eat me. He pounds my head in.
There you go.
And I gotta say, I'm so lucky that I got this YMSF figure from G-Fest, and this thing only costs like $55 at the YMSF table. They sell the other ones, and I even bought one of Kumanga, the giant spider one.
gross.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been looking for that everywhere. I mean, I even found one online that costs expensive, but luckily for me, G-Fest sell those that are cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. Well, shameless self-promotion, anyone?
I make stuff sometimes.
Subscribe to her channel.
Kim and I just posted a couple of G-Fest shenanigan videos. Go check those out.
The candid moment at the beginning is gold.
Yeah. There was this. My phone just auto-recorded during me telling a story, and it was really.
I looked over. I'm like, was it supposed to be recording?
And I was like, "Yikes! Oh well." But go check those out. There's a new episode of Growing Up with Godzilla premiering tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll have Kaiju-themed, who is a stop-motion filmmaker and does all sorts of things. So definitely check that out. He's a wonderful human being. And I think those are my plugs. So yeah.
I'm Robert Montserrat. Like my thing right there says, I'm a monster artist of monster talent. So check out. I'm on Twitter at Montserrat Robert. I'm on Instagram at Robert_Montserrat, and I'm also on Blue Sky under my name. So I need to post on Blue Sky a little bit more. I'd like to, eventually get off that one platform that changed its name.
Wow.
They tried to change its name.
Yeah, but it's still Twitter.
Someone sounds a little angry about that. And just to give him a little bit more endorsement, and also let him know, Robert, I'm putting together a little something for a project you and I have been working on. So that'll be exciting.
Sweet. Look forward to it.
Yeah, and I am Autistic Lizard Pro, and don't forget to like and subscribe for my podcast channel on YouTube for more podcast unboxing videos coming soon, and don't forget to follow my X account, or AKA Twitter.
Yeah, there you go. I mentioned my podcast earlier. You can also check on my author website, nathanjsmarchand.com. And I will be posting a very involved blog about my experiences at G-Fest on there very soon. And I'll be posting videos of my panels to the MIFE YouTube channel. So for those who missed out on that, posting those panel videos has gotten very popular in the last week, which has been kind of fun. And my next podcast episode for MIFE is I'm a little behind, unfortunately, with getting stuff done. But the next episode, you'll appreciate this, Robert. It will be on the lake, actually, because I'm doing an international themed season of MIFE. So it's talking about kaiju movies from anywhere but Japan and America, because I spent a lot of time talking about those already. And so next up will be Thailand. With the lake. I'm glad the lake came out, because I didn't want to talk about Garuda that bad. Garuda's kind of awful, and then there's The Beast Below, which I haven't watched yet. So Thailand's working on getting some of its own kaiju out there. And my guest for that one will be Jacob Lingle from Kaiju United, which you should totally follow. Kaiju United. It is the best kaiju website on the internet. Yeah, I've contributed to it. Elijah's contributed to it. Donnie, I think you've contributed to it as well. Which, by the way, we need to give a big shout out to the Kaiju United guys who were running around doing videography for the convention. They were basically the official media outlet. So Jacob and Elijah, especially, the rest of you guys, you were troopers. You were the unsung heroes. They hosted a few panels as well. So like the -1 panel was done by Kaiju United. So just big shout out to those guys. So those are all the important things that I'll mention here really quick, because the other podcast I know Jake will take care of.
Yeah, you can listen to me and Nate on Henshin Power V3. We got a Facebook group called the Market Lot Lounge, and you can find me on there. And that's about it.
Yeah, and currently we're going through Kamen Rider V3.
Yep. Going through Kamen Rider V3 and then Ultraman 66.
Yep, we had a listener poll, and they picked Ultraman 66 first for us to cover after that. And then after that, we're going to be going over Kamen Rider 5s and the Guyver animes. It'll be an interesting, eclectic first season, to say the least.
Definitely.
All right. Well, sounds very good. And as for me, I mean, if you guys regularly watch the channel, you know that I've got 6 books out. I do stuff on this site. I've got a website that's under construction. It'll hopefully launch soon. And otherwise, just stay tuned for more stuff. So
actually, I should also mention I've got books out in print as well. You can find out about that on my author website. And I'm working on a new short story collection that should hopefully be out soon.
Right.
And if I purchase one of your books, what do you think? Like, should I do an unboxing episode of one of your books?
Go for it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, and I also have an Etsy page, Montserrat's Monsters. So that has some of my art books and prints and things like that, if anyone's interested.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you all for showing up. I think this went quite well. It gives people an idea of what happened at this past G-Fest, and hey, if you didn't make it to this one, maybe we'll see you there next time. So, on behalf of everybody here, until such time as we meet again, this is the OmniViewer and all of our special guests signing off.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.